Okay, all right, guys, I'm going to start the demo. We are currently working on famous portraits, and I chose Jean-Michel Basquiat, who was a painter that was famous. He's still famous. He's no longer living. He was doing the bulk of his work in the 60s and 70s. He was a contemporary, which means he was working alongside the artist Andy Warhol. So that kind of gives you a little bit of context if you know Andy Warhol. And we have been working on this drawing in different stages. So this was sort of stage one, where we learned how to draw the face in proportion. We learned how to divide the head into a half to find the eyes, and then a third to find the nose, and a third to find the mouth. We learned that there are 5 eye widths across the face, and that helps us with the spacing between the eyes. We learned how to kind of use measurements to find the distance between features. We learned how to draw the face from a front view and also from an angled side view by drawing a line down the middle of the face at an angle if it needs to be. And then we did a contour line drawing, which is sort of like the outline of the figure first. And so that's where you guys are at for the most part. After you're done with this stage, you're going to show me your drawing, and I'm going to offer suggestions. Like maybe you need to move that eye this way a little bit, or there's too much space between the two. And really the best way to know that is to ask someone else to look, because sometimes we just get real used to seeing what we see, and sometimes we don't see things that need to be changed. So ask a peer if you want to, ask me, and then make sure your features are in the right place before you add value to it. Now we're using the additive and subtractive charcoal method. So the next step you're going to do is gather up your materials. You're going to use your charcoal sticks, your blending stumps, your eraser, and different size blending stumps if you need them. And we're just going to block in the value. So what does that mean? Well, when we look at this photo here, what does the word value mean? Value is the range of dark to light. Okay, so there's a very quick value scale right there for you. Light, medium grays, dark. Let me add a little bit more charcoal so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. So if this were a value scale, this would be the highlights of your face. These would be the medium tones of your face. And then this would be the shadows of your face and the darker features. So that's what we're adding with the charcoal. And we're going to block in the value first. So we're not doing any detail now. It's like we're going to paint the first coat of paint. Or we're going to put the first coat of charcoal down. And we do that just very quickly with the side of our charcoal by looking at our photo. So I'm just going to start with the face. Now, just word of advice here, you don't need too much charcoal. You don't need to lay down too much charcoal, because that will spread. Let me show you what I mean by that. That tiny little bit of charcoal, when I take my blending stump, can fill up the entire forehead almost. So it really goes far, especially if you use those blending stumps. That tiny little bit of charcoal did all that. So don't go too heavy-handed with it, or you're going to have a lot of erasing to do. So like for the eyebrow, I would just add like a little bit, and then I would kind of blend it that way. So right now we're adding charcoal. It's called pushing the charcoal. We're pushing it into the paper. This is the additive part. And I'm not getting details yet, right? I'm just paying attention to how dark the shadows are. Like above his nose here, there's a nice shadow. And so I added a little bit more charcoal there. Now if you add too much and you're just like, oh my God, that's not right, it's too dark, that's fine. Just go back in, and then now you pull the charcoal off your page with your eraser, and that's the subtractive part. Okay, you just kind of erase it. And that's the beauty of charcoal. It's kind of like the clay of drawing materials. You can mold it and make it do what you want it to do. So with the eyes, again, I'm just doing basic value blocking. I'm not really getting into any kind of detail yet. I just want to have sort of a coat of charcoal on the page. I call it my underpainting or my underdrawing. For the eyes, you can get in there with maybe a smaller blending stump so it doesn't get all smeary. Do a little bit more detail there. It's got a cheekbone here, darker shadow on the right side of his face. Go in and so this happens pretty quick. You know, it's not something that we're going to spend a huge amount of time on because it's just the start of this process. I mean, sometimes we can even blend with the charcoal that's already on our blending stump, right? We have so much charcoal on there already. If we have a light value to fill in, we don't even need to add charcoal to the page. A little cheekbone here, a little shadow on the side of his mouth, a nice shadow underneath his lip here. And I'm going to grab all that charcoal that I just laid down and I'm going to pull it into the lighter values on his face. You know, and pay attention to skin tone. Whoever you're drawing, you want to try to match the skin tone that you see in the image. And some of you are working off of an old painting, if it was pre-photography, and some of you are working on a more contemporary photograph like me. Someone that was born after photography became popular and accessible. Okay, so that was pretty quick. I'm not done yet. This is just the beginning. I can go back in and I can use some darker line to get my darker values. The more range of value you have in your whatever you're drawing, the more three-dimensional it's going to look. So we have to have those darks and we have to have those bright lights in order for this to look three-dimensional. You can see even when I laid in those darker areas how those features kind of popped a bit. So you're going to block in the value for everything, even a background. Okay, so I'm just going to keep working on this, but I want to kind of dismiss you guys to go work on your piece so that you have plenty of time. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask me now. But I'm going to keep working on this demo so you have it to watch later if you need it. All right, so it's 2 o'clock and we are in class till 3. So I would like you to return at 2:50. 2:50. And you're going to post a work in progress image of your piece. So make sure you are working on this during this time period. No other classes, nothing else, just this. And then if you need my assistance while you're working or you want me to look at your proportions and give you the thumbs up, yes, you can move on to value. Go ahead and just ask me. Okay, you are dismissed to work. Yes.
Ms. Greninger, can you look at my proportions?
Sure.
Okay, so, yeah, I'll get this up on my video.
Who am I speaking to?
Sorry?
Who am I speaking to?
Sartak.
Hi, okay, what's your question?
Can you look at my proportions?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Not sure if you can see
I have a
it.
tiny question.
I'm talking to Sarthak.
It'll be really quick. It's really quick.
Well, I don't know if it's fair to jump in front of him, so if you could just be patient, please. Okay, so I don't know if I could pin your image, Sarthak, but let me see if I can make it bigger. Pin video? No, okay, I'm looking at it. Hold it down just a little bit. I think it looks great. I think you should move forward and do your value. Okay.
Okay.
And then who was next?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your question?
My question is that my when I drew it, my hand had charcoal and it got all over the background. So how do I kind of erase it or something?
Just leave the charcoal in the background because you're going to be adding charcoal to the background anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Miss Greninger,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
can you look at my proportion?